In the previous episode of Hermitcraft, this little axolotl thought he was being a good citizen. There were boats on the grounds here in the Octagon, and I was kind enough to pick them all up and place them all down so that they didn't despawn. But little did I know, this was actually part of a prank that had happened the day before. And the fact that the boats are still here, I think I might have traumatized Doc. He's getting rid of all these boats and I wander here and just start putting them back down again. So we're gonna clean all of this up for Doc. And that includes the boats that are somehow under the glass. So hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hermitcraft, where I have repaid my debts by removing the boats from around here and the ones under the glass. I am a good citizen, right? There is a reason though that I am starting my episode over here, and that's because later on in this episode we're actually going to be constructing a redstone contraption inside of the Octagon. We're going to strike a deal with the Doctor himself and bring the derpcoin over to this area on a whole new level. But before we get to any of that, I need to fly back over to my base, because at the end of the last one I left you with some work that needed to be done in the area. I also did my AFKing over at the witch farm, so I've filled up these shulker boxes full of resources, and round the back here our furnace setup is now fully stocked with a whole bunch of sticks. And a common question I get is, why am I using sticks for fuel? Well, the reason why is because it's just simply a byproduct of the witch farm, and I can just fill up some shulker boxes, chuck them there, and then I've got fuel. But let's talk about this over here. This was the work that needed to be done. We're creating a path leading over to Tango's area, and this is the beginning of it, and I really am happy with how this turned out, but especially this part right here. Look at this. This is a gorgeous little cut through. And it was mainly inspired by this B-dubs building over here. I kind of wanted to match the palette as you came through to a new area, so the look of these buildings would match what we're doing over there. And this will be old news by the time this episode comes out, but look, you know, there's a darkness over the shopping area here. It's a giant boat. Buy at Boatum. Oh dear. And I don't know if it's the shadow and the darkness, but this thing, I mean, you can feel the frames, right? There's a fair bit of lag here. It's actually probably all of these boats. Yeah, I think I'm going to be a good citizen and start to clean some of these up, because this is next to my area and it's lagging me out too. But I think I'm going to steer clear of this darkness. What I've noticed is that the mobs are actually getting captured inside of the boats. So look, they spawn and then they get caught up in the boat. It's kind of hilarious. And you know what? I'm probably going to come back over here and clean this up later. It'll take me like an hour or so to clear out all of these boats, and I was in the middle of explaining what I've been up to. So as you might have remembered, that tunnel was going to lead over to a bridge, and I have constructed this bridge, and it is officially gorgeous. That looks absolutely lovely. So once again, trying to pick out something from over here that would match it, I spotted this achacha and mix of different wood types, and so I wanted to bring that to our palette with this bridge. If we just spin around and perch over here, well, there's a tree in the way and a beacon, which I moved to the middle of the area we're working on. And from down here, you can kind of see most of it. So the achacha is rather dominant up top, then we got that mix of wood down below with the little spikes hanging, and it just looks fantastic. I'm really happy with this. Now what I wanted to show you next is how all of this came together. Obviously it's not symmetrical, it's organic, but it's got a real nice feel to it. And it's kind of hard to avoid trying to be symmetrical when you're creating certain builds in Minecraft, and so I've started to do the same thing over here, and I thought I should hit record because you might be interested in how this comes together. So really it's just a case of not looking for symmetry, but just pulling a line of wood where it looks like it would need some support, and then bringing it down on the opposite side like this. And essentially I'm just going to look at the shape of this cave and then put support beams going across where it looks like they need to be, and then not making them sort of mirror or match up with something somewhere else. And so down here the ceiling needs to be kind of low because there is some builds directly above it, so we kind of switched to just having these random pillars on either side. And again, that kind of favors, you know, not keeping the same sort of system for placing blocks throughout, so it kind of transitions from one thing to another structurally. And then we start to put in some of our granite and bricks, and we start off with the sort of foundation down here at the bottom where we use more bricks, and then we'll start to work our way upwards like so, where we'll use more of the regular granite and also mix in a little bit of dirt. That can look really nice alongside these blocks too. So this side is looking a little more chaotic than the other, but it is far from being finished. The next focus is the floor. I'm going to rip out all of this stone. We're going to introduce a new block palette. And while I'm doing that, it's time for a message from the sponsor of today's video. Having connection issues? Can't play on your favorite server? A VPN can't always fix these issues, but it can reroute your internet connection through a different server. And quite often, this works for me when having issues getting onto the Hermitcraft server. Similar to this problem, some websites and apps are slow to load as internet service providers can throttle your bandwidth at their own discretion. For example, if your ISP sees that you're using a lot of data on Netflix, they could choose to throttle your connection speeds. ExpressVPN prevents your ISP from seeing what websites you're visiting. So if you have trouble downloading a large file or streaming a video, turning it on can potentially overcome these throttling issues. And speaking of streaming video, did you know what you can watch online is based on your location? For example, if you wanted to watch classic British comedies like Peep Show, Mr. Bean or Monty Python on Netflix, it's not available, but switching your location to Great Britain using ExpressVPN will allow you to watch them. So if this interests you, then head over to expressvpn.com/Xisuma. Using this link, you will get 3 extra months for free on a yearly subscription. Head over there and sign up today. So now the floor is in place. I've gone through and placed enough lanterns to stop any mobs from spawning in here, and now it's about doing a pass because the ceiling is actually done. And what I mean by a pass is something I haven't really prepared my inventory for. So what I'm talking about is coming through and just adding in a little more shape and detail. Little details like that will actually go a long way to making the build feel far more organic. So we're going to go through and just tweak and change a few blocks and shapes here and there. And over here at the other end, I've added an entrance that will tie in nicely with some features already in the area. And as we go through here, you'll probably notice the slabs and the stairs and the walls as they kind of pop out, and the whole thing is looking really fantastic. And that is the connection done. And there is the classic lag spike from someone sending a message in chat. And that is a bug that's going to be fixed in 1.8, which I'm looking forward to because the lag spike is annoying. There is also, though, something else that I did in this area I forgot to mention. It's not really that exciting. The river down below, I removed all of the terrain that was blocking it, so now it's an actual river going all the way through here and out to the ocean. And that ties up this project, and also we should really get rid of this ugly cobblestone pillar. And do you know what else we've got to get rid of? Boats. And it looks like Corrales is actually building a boat. Oh, the irony. Oh, it's taken a really long time, and we're at the top. And I'll just let you know that I haven't been able to play on the server for a couple of days. I've been under the weather. I caught a stomach bug or something. And coming back on here, I realised the last thing I recorded was Corrales' boat. And now, it's finished. And unsurprisingly, it looks absolutely amazing. Also, you might notice a lack of boats here and there. I didn't clean up too many down the front here, but the ones that I've cleaned up has made a big difference. And the amount of mobs in these boats is just concerning, to say the least. I don't know when the Big Eyes crew are going to clean all of this up, but yeah, they've got quite a bit of work to do. Let's now get back to our own business and fly over the tops of those beautiful bridges and paths that I built earlier this episode, because that's how I get around the server, right? Just shooting rockets all the time. It's kind of ridiculous. And you know what else is ridiculous? I've actually used up pretty much all of the sugarcane, right? This is all that I have left. We had a sugarcane farm earlier in the season, then I took it down, and then I've been using it with gunpowder to make rockets, and that's all that I had left. So if we are going to make a sugarcane farm, I would like to do something a little different. Take advantage of a new mechanic in 1.17, like being able to waterlog rails, which I feel like I've done practically nothing with so far. So anyway, I started to test this, and I made a bit of a mistake, you see. I put down carpet right here, which we wouldn't actually need if this was a farm that I myself were not going into, because I wouldn't have to risk falling down into the water, right? The idea is to automatically collect items that land on top of these blocks, and the hopper can't pick up that item on top of the carpet, but it could pick up one on top of a regular block. And do you remember I said that I was sick? Well, that's my excuse on this one, because we didn't actually need the carpet. Yeah, this could have simply just been set up so that the water was open, the items would fall into it and get picked up by the hoppers down below. The trick here is, of course, that in the past, the water would have flushed away all the rails, which it wouldn't do now. And we could have had a simple flying machine going back and forth, harvesting all of the sugarcane. But let's face it, we did that last season of Hermitcraft, and so I decided not to make a big deal out of this. I would just put the sugarcane farm down here in the basement area, and I've tried to decorate it up, but I didn't have too many ideas on creating something unique here. It was sort of awkward to take this transition where you got stone and dirt and make it look interesting, so everything's kind of overgrown down here, but we do have this sugarcane farm, and so now I will not have to worry about making more of my rockets. And building this thing was pretty simple. I put down the patterns of glowstone first and then filled up the area above with water so you wouldn't have to run around with buckets putting them in individually. And then from there we just put in the sugarcane, which can't go in every single spot because it needs to be next to that water, and then we cover up the water with the carpet. And there it is, we have ourselves a beautiful basement with mossy green sugarcane farm now. Kind of looks alright. And swiftly moving on, we're going to do some proper redstone contraptioning today, but I would like you to cast your mind back to the project down here. This is our hybrid farm for squid, glow squid, and also drowns that all get killed by the beautiful, wonderful axolotls. And the other day when I AFK'd over here for string, I got tons of that stuff. I forgot to check on this farm, and the good news is it's just super efficient, right? I'm going to take some of these Nautilus shells, but yes, lots and lots of drops pumping out of this thing. And when I was first working on this farm design in a creative world, I was looking for ways to innovate with this design and do something slightly different. And here is what I came up with. You got to pay attention here. Look at the soul sand at the bottom. Aha! It all moves, and then the squid start freaking out. But you can see that there are bubbles, and this is because any items that are in this area now are going to get swooshed up to the top and then sent over to the side. So now let's go ahead and turn off the farm, and you can see all the blocks get swapped down. So at the very bottom here, there isn't actually a water source block, so that effect can't go all the way to the top. But when we move these up by one, there's nothing but water sources above it, so then it will have the power to push any items up to the top. Now this would have been great if it had the ability to push the squid and the glow squid to the surface, because then we could leave them out to dry and collect their drops that way, but unfortunately that's not how it works. That might be subject to change in 1.18 though, because currently this relies on there being stone blocks all the way down at the bottom. And I did try and engineer a solution for the stone blocks, but let me show you the contraption in action here. I think this is just a really cool, simple to set up little system that can switch the position of multiple blocks at once. And so down the bottom here underneath the water, we simply have a whole array of this. And the way it works is just really cool to watch. Let's do that one more time. Now if I wanted this to actually work and be able to automatically push all the items to the top, you know, which they already float to the top eventually, this would just be really cool if it actually pushed the squids up and they would go over to the edge. But I was determined to find a way to swap the soul sand for stone. And I kind of came up with something. I was trying to make this tileable, but it occurred to me this would probably become a bit of a headache to diagnose if something were to go wrong having tiled this out all the way across a potential spawning area. But as you can see, the soul sand will get pushed across underneath, so the water above would change temporarily, and then it would go back to being stone, allowing squid and glow squids to spawn. So if this thing was hooked up on a periodic timer, then it would be stone most of the time, and then occasionally it would cycle through the soul sand. Anyways, in seeing that this would probably create more headaches than it's worth when scaling it up for a large spawn area, I decided to just leave it at that. Anyway, the reason that we come here is because we're going to make a redstone contraption today, and it's going to use this system over here, which I want to find more excuses for this. If you've got any ideas how it could be useful, let me know with a comment down below. And so earlier in the day I bumped into Doc, and the two of us struck up a deal over at the Octagon, and now I gotta build that contraption.
I was just over at Evil Emporium investing into derpcoin. Big
Ah.
time. And all of a sudden you're here. That's kind of spooky.
Yeah, I mean, I came over to see what you were building. Look at this. Woo.
Yeah. Bridge over troubled water. You know what I mean?
Let's see.
It's gonna be epic. So yeah, good you're here. I guess it's gonna also please your master, Evil X.
Oh, yes.
We need derpcoin, right?
That's what
And,
Evil X likes to hear.
yeah. We need people to easily get derpcoin here because, as you know, made this deal with Javin, right? We only want to sell shulker boxes for derpcoin server-wide.
Yes.
And have to say, people here are using derpcoin, but I think they would use it even more and even buy more, especially shulker boxes potentially, if we had some sort of,
Exchange.
exchange or versatile. People throw in diamonds and,
And they get derp coin. It makes a lot of sense because if you come over here and you're like, oh my god, like it's cheaper if I buy this stuff with derp coin, or I can only get shulker boxes with derp coin. You don't want to spend your time figuring out where you need to go.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a great deal for Evil X. You can tell him he will be happy with the 50% diamond split we will make, right?
Yeah, well, 50%? That's a little on the steep side, Doc.
Why? Come on, man. It's here. It's on our property. Otherwise, those derpcoin might never be bought. Come on, man.
Well, I'm a generous guy, but I think Evil X would be upset if I didn't haggle. Let's say 25%.
That's but it's very tricky to do. Let's say if it's 2 diamonds, how are you gonna give me 25%?
You have to wait until we get more diamonds, so that equally
That's not how
divides.
it works. Quick payouts, that is what we expect from this derpcoin stuff. Come on.
50%. You're driving a hard bargain here, Doc.
I mean, otherwise, people might have to fly over there. Okay, I'll it's just so easy to divide, right? Like 50-50 split. Nah,
If you buy another staking pass, if you invest more in derp coin, I'll go for 50-50 with you.
Okay.
That's
I
good.
think that's a fair deal. That's a fair deal for
That's
sure.
good.
50-50. All right. So yeah, feel free to set it up. I don't know, here in the walls. If you look
the
behind
walls.
here.
Well, I was just about to say, you wouldn't want some sort of ugly pop-up stand in the middle of this area, and I think I want to do like a redstone contraption. Let's make buying derp coin fun.
Yeah, there should be enough space here. I mean, if you look in here, right, it's all empty, hollow space, and there's nothing in the way.
Oh, dang.
So pretty sure you can fit some redstoneage in here.
Yeah, there's plenty of space for that. Right, so customers will make their way on in, and the first thing they're greeted with is a derp coin exchange. I think Evil X is going to be very happy with this. And of course, I couldn't hang out with Doc and not mention that I replaced all of the boats that he was removing in the previous episode of Hermitcraft. I was completely unaware of the boat prank, which I'm sure many of you have seen by now. And there was me, you were destroying all the boats, and I wandered in. I was like, oh, let me be nice and put these back down again. I had no idea about the prank. Oh, dear.
Yeah, I was like, what is he doing? Okay, putting the boats back. All right, he's maybe on their side, but you were not, right?
I was not involved at all. I'm
All right.
completely innocent in all of this.
Hey, they hit Big Eye Crew too.
I know.
That, right?
I've seen the devastation. It's pretty... I think they got hit worse. Let's put it that way.
All right. Anyways, yeah, feel free to hook that up whenever.
Yeah. I'll fix this
Either
hole in the
here
wall
or
and I'll
there.
get it built soon. All right?
Yeah, I'll fix the hole. Don't you worry. Oh, are the blocks in there?
They're in here.
Oh yeah, there they are.
Sweet.
All right.
All right. Cheers, Doc.
Later.
So yes, this is the spot where we're going to have to build a contraption, and as you can see, we've got a limited amount of space. We have to make this thing fit between the walls of the Octagon. And it will be a tight fit, but I do think that it's going to be possible. And this right here uses that same system. So let's go ahead and activate it. Aha. And that was very quick and brief. And that's because I want to make this derpcoin spinner a lot faster of an experience with like instant gratification. So every time it's activated, you're going to have a very quick roll, and then you have some chance of winning derpcoin and premium derpcoin. So anyway, the signal goes up to the top here, we create a pulse, and then we use that observer system that I showed earlier. But the thing is, we need to get more redstone action out of this. So we have another set of observers to pass the redstone signal on to the next bit of the contraption, which you can see right here is very tight for space. Yeah, I am just about able to squeeze in some sticky pistons to take the signal downwards and across, where it's going to activate some droppers. And these droppers will be the mechanism for getting either a regular derp coin or a premium derp coin. Let's see it in action. And you can see, look, we got one different from all the others, but that's just me demonstrating because this is all there is in here at the moment. And so the mechanism that decides what type of derp coin it will just be the distribution of items inside the dropper. As you can see, we can have it set up 9 to 1, which makes it very similar to where you get it everywhere else. So then you'll, on average, get, you know, one of these and 8 regular derp coins with every spin. Now, the other important thing with this design is that we're not going to have the droppers on display, so we will have blocks going across here, which might be deep slate to like match the palette. And then that means that the items that go up into them can fly out in all sorts of directions. So you also have to then surround those blocks with blocks like so, and they should then always pop up into the space directly below the lanterns. And this is where I think things will get really gratifying for the person who's interacting with this, because as you do multiple rolls, the items are just going to keep stacking up in this space, but then the redstone lamps will also like push them forward and out towards you, and when you're done spinning away your diamonds, you can walk over to it and collect them all. So this, my friends, is the interface right here. I think we'll probably mess with the shape here to make it pop out a little bit more. You'll see that there is a space in the ground. That's where the hopper to put your diamonds is going to go, and due to space constraints I could have had that further out this way, but then I would eat into where the glass is. So this means I can move it closer to the rest of the contraption, but then it's likely some of the derp coins are going to pop back out into the hopper, but they won't break the contraption. They'll just sit in there, and you know, you can pick them out after. So that's, yeah, kind of like a little bit of a downside to this thing. Otherwise it would be perfect. But anyway, I've gone and added in some sounds. That's an important part of the contraption too. So when this plays, there's going to be a little melody with a kind of gratifying ending with a couple of chords. Alright then, here it is. Everything is wired up and working, but I do not have a lot of derp coins to my name to fill up all the droppers down below. So let's just put one in to begin with. Ah, so satisfying. And on average you'd only get one premium derp coin. Then you could roll over, pick these up, check if any have gone into the hopper, like this one right here. Now the next trick is that you can actually put in multiple and have them roll in a row. And this is where it gets really nice. Aha! Gotta love that jingle! And then you got loads of derp coin to pick up. Beautiful. Now, sadly, as it currently stands, I do not have all the resources to open this thing up right now. There might be some additional redstone engineering that I want to do too, so we're going to have to put a sign down here. Aha, there it is. Derp coin exchange coming soon. And I think I said it a couple of seconds ago, I have another redstone contraption in mind and some more to do in this area. So when you come back next episode, there will be a lot to see over here at the Octagon. But what a great integration of the derp coin it is, hey? What do you think about this project? I think it's a terrific idea. I think Evil X is going to love it. We'll find out soon. Anyway, that's it from me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.